For more on what today's emotional testimony means and what we can expect as the prosecution rests its case, joining us now is Paul Henderson, a former prosecutor in San Francisco, and Andrea Lyon. She's a law professor at DePaul University and was Casey Anthony's lead attorney earlier. Andrea, as I said, you're a former member of Casey's defense team. You think she's innocent. Yes. Why?
Well, because I believe that she didn't commit the crime based on some things that I'm still obligated not to talk about, but also because there is no real proof that there was even a murder at all.
Andrea, let me ask you, though, we have seen just a litany of lies that Casey Anthony has told.
That's right.
And being a liar does not make you a murderer, and I'm not equating the two, but it certainly goes to her credibility.
Absolutely. And it absolutely does.
And now, as the defense is taking over, what do they have to do? What do you think the defense, I mean, are they now going to be hitting this? I assume they're going to be trying to bolster their argument that that she isn't abused, that she's a victim herself of past childhood abuse.
Well, you know, that is what the opening statement said, and of course I'm not in the defense team anymore, and I'm not privy to what they intend to prove or how they intend to prove it. There's a difference between thinking that it was a homicide and proving that it was a homicide. There's a difference between finding her behavior aberrant, abhorrent, or otherwise, you know, despicable. You know, I'm a mother. If my daughter were missing for 31 seconds, let alone 31 days, I would lose my mind. But I'm not this particular person. And there's a difference between that and carrying the burden of proof. And the way that this case has been tried is it's been tried based on her negative character. You know, that the sexually, you know, suggestive pictures of her with another young woman, and, you know, that she likes to party, and that, you know, and that her behavior is inappropriate. And nobody's going to argue that her behavior is appropriate. But there's a difference between that and a premeditated, planned, first-degree murder.
Isn't that the way, Paul, that the case has maybe been tried in the media, and a lot of people have paid attention to the photos and her behavior afterward? But in terms of what's going on in court, I mean, we've seen a lot of the lies and the inconsistency in her story, and we've heard a lot about evidence.
That's exactly it. It's layer after layer after layer. It's not just one thing. It's all the photos. It's all the inconsistent statement. It's all the behavior that you're seeing. It's all of the lies. It's all of the evidence associated with the body. It all adds up. But if you look at the entire picture, and that's what we're going to be asking the jury to do, we're going to ask them to look and evaluate all of the evidence that's being presented to them, so all of the inconsistent statements. The road that they're building is that this is a person who has consistently lied about this incident. She certainly didn't tell much of the truth about what was going on with her daughter, and then lo and behold, the daughter isn't just missing, the daughter is dead. And she's not just dead, the experts are saying that the daughter was murdered. And regarding the murder, the story that the mother told doesn't look like it's very true based on the evidence, based on the facts that have been presented to the jury, and you couple that with her behavior while the daughter was missing, it all just leads to the same conclusion, that this is a person that is guilty of wrongdoing, and I believe that this evidence is going to show that she was guilty of murder.
Paul, do you think that Casey Anthony will take the stand?
I think if she's going to go with that defense, she's going to have to take the stand because she's going to have to sell it. It's not selling well, especially in light of all of the lies and inconsistencies that have been told in the past. And while, you know, I'm aware that people are worked up about this case, people have a visceral reaction when there's a case like this, regardless of whether it's in the media or not, because this is, you know, one of our most vulnerable victims in society. It's a little girl that trusted her mother and ended up dead.
Andrea, though, putting her on the stand, huge risk with that.
Well, that's the problem, is, you know, I mean, it's always, as a defense attorney, one of the hardest decisions always, no matter what the circumstances is whether to put your client on the stand. Because if you do, all the rest of the evidence just falls away. You know, it all comes down to, do we believe the defendant or not? Do we like the defendant or not?
Andrea Lyon, I appreciate your perspective. Paul Henderson as well. Thanks.
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome.